Good morning. I am John. Today is Thursday, January 5th, 2022. And this is my daily vlog documenting my journey of trying to make content creation a sustainable, viable, long-term gig for myself. Let's get started right away talking about, just the standard deal. Yesterday, status and today. So yesterday, very productive. I did film, tape, whatever, record. I did produce the entire video that I talked about, which was that I've been looking forward to over the last few days because I've been doing this investigative thing based on new product announcements from my arcade and Atari, and I was able to get some images a couple of days early before CES, which is today. I got that video done. And I got permission to release my video with those images all produced and talking about it just 30 minutes after they're going to be released from the CES show floor. So 2 o'clock Eastern today, I'll be able to release that video. Get more to today in a second about that, put a pin in that. Also yesterday, I produced 4 short form videos out of our YouTube recordings. Now that we're recording those video, that's part of the short form that I'm doing. This has been a great way to repurpose content that previously was single use. We would record the audio, edit the audio. What you have left is a 1 hour, sound file. You publish that, and that's it. And now a single podcast is yielding, maybe 6 or 7 pieces of content. There's the audio form itself, but then also, out goes, short form videos, long form videos, that sorts of thing. I published a long form video that Mo created from that very same podcast. We're really leveraging the podcast more in our social presence and our YouTube presence. It's always been, fully half of what we do, but its visibility was microscopic compared to what we do on YouTube. So we're hoping the two feed one another. It's too early to say. We've really only been doing it for about three weeks or so. But so far, reaction has been good. It's not been damaging, and it's certainly been adding viewers and adding subscribers. So it's going to take some more time to find out, how that helps or hurts, but I think it's not hurting. It's definitely helping some. It's finding out whether or not the effort is going to be worth it or effort should be spent elsewhere, and it takes time to kind of find that. But so far, I'm bullish on it. It seems to be doing very well, and it's a great way to get a lot of content out there that's interesting, and people are enjoying watching. But it's not extra work, right? It's a little extra, not wholesale work. So, So basically, we published one thing and created 5 things yesterday to start trickling out over the next several days. So good work. Views and subscribers are kind of like on par. It was kind of a normal flat day, no giant spikes or anything, but yesterday was fine. So then today, as I mentioned, I'm very excited about publishing this video. So the last 3 or 4 pieces I've done that have been speculative, kind of investigative about this topic, have been doing very well. So YouTube has taught me over the last several years to lean into that, to do that more. And it's been paying off on this particular thing. I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess I would say. I don't want to put all my hopes on this one video, because when that video is gone, you're on to the next thing, right? But this is kind of going to be, if any one of these does well, it probably will be this one. So if this one doesn't perform at least as well as the last one, I have to reevaluate, right? Or find another avenue, or find leading edge stories to dig into and see how it goes. I guess really I'm braced for the worst in case it doesn't do well, but I have every evidence and expectation that it should do well. That's just kind of how my mind kind of overthinks everything, going around in circles. But anyway, we'll find out this afternoon when that thing releases, right? And then today, I have some more work to do prepping the next long form video, which I hope to get done this morning, shot this morning, because whether I finish the video or not, the item that I want to shoot is actually a piece of tech that I want to talk about on the podcast that we will record tomorrow. You can see my calendar is pretty full. So today, by the way, is new podcast episode day. If you listen regularly, there's a brand new episode out today. It's a backtrack, remembering the Gen X era comedian Gallagher. We talk about him, his pros, his cons, his history, his legal battles, all that sort of thing. If you have any interest, and even if you have no interest, if you are a fan of the show, people tell us that, whatever you guys talk about is entertaining because, we cut up and, mess with each other constantly, which is really that's the complexion of the audio show really is, us kind of just cutting up and talking about a thing while we talk around it, but we're talking to each other basically. So I think that's pretty much, as I'm writing left to do for the podcast, that's also pretty much what I have left to do today. Something I'm looking forward to this evening is a new movie I'm going to see is that Megan, the M3GAN, the little girl robot that's killing people. It's like a comedy horror thing. Got pretty good reviews. It's already like 98% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, which is pretty amazing. But the reason why I bring that up is partially to share, but also, going out to see movies is one of those discretionary things that you could do or not do. And it's one of those things that when I first lost my job, I was thinking really hard about, because I subscribe to the AMC A-List, which I think it's like $26 a month or something. And what you get out of it is you can see 3 movies a week for free, basically, which I never take advantage of that. But in reality, if you see 3 movies in a month, you're ahead on money there. So every discretionary thing like this, I go through this thought in my head, which is, should I be spending money on this at all, since I don't have a regular income? And each one of them I weigh in terms of, do I need it? No. What do I get out of it? Right? So there's a need, meaning like, is it food or shelter or whatever, which there are very few of those. I already have those covered in my long-term plan. Everything else that's discretionary, what do I get out of it, right? So, it comes down to, you tell a person that, hey, eliminate all of your extraneous, expenses. And I'm sympathetic too that not everyone has spent decades stockpiling a savings and they can't make these decisions, even whether they want it, right? They have to do that. I'm in a situation where I've placed myself where I can evaluate each item on a case-by-case basis. And that's one of those things that, first of all, I had a great friend tell me, you and I go to the movies together, so if you're going to cancel it, tell me. I'll start paying for it. Well, that's generous, but I'm not interested in, farming out my bills to other people necessarily, despite, the immense kindness that comes behind those words. But I look at it and I go, what do I get out of that $26 in a month? And I'm like, okay, it's about $1 a day. And again, if I do see even just 2 movies, I'm ahead of the game. And but also I use that movie viewership I use to feed into the podcast. That's where I see new releases that we talk about in our media segment for the show. Now that's in and of itself is not justification for why I continue to subscribe to the A-List, because anyone could look at my ledger list and go, that's not necessary. Movies are not critical. And they're not, but I look at them partially as a mental health standpoint, because I really love the movie experience. I like going to the movies. In the times I've gone since being laid off, I have dramatically reduced anything I spend at the concession. I've always been a snack smuggler, and now I'm a bottle of Mountain Dew smuggler too. So, I can spend $5 at Walgreens on the way to the movies for a soda and a snack, and a single soda at the movies costs like $8, and it just isn't cost effective. I know the margins and I know all kind of thing, but for me, I can't justify it. I can better justify smuggling in a soda than I can spending $8 on a soda at this point in my life. It's just one of those interesting things that it popped up in my head recently, because it pertains not only to my being laid off, but also to my content creation, and also to my mental well-being. So for the time being, a membership to AMC's A-List is still something that I deem necessary for me mentally, emotionally, just the kind of life that I want to live. I don't want to live as a hermit on a rock staying inside all the time. I still want to live in the real world. As an aside, there are things that haven't felt that way. Like I've canceled Spotify, I've canceled Office 365. There's a couple of things that were $10 a month, $100 a year, stuff like that. I think you have to pick and choose. It comes down to it, and you look and see, is that $25 going to make or break the month? Well, it's not. Now you can't, those pennies add up to dollars, obviously, but each one has to be taken on a per instance basis, or at least that's how I'm doing it, and determining what the path forward is to give myself the best chance to be successful. Which, by the way, I've had some thoughts about what success means too. I'm sure I'll get into that in a coming vlog before too long. Hey, it's time for me to get to work today. I super duper appreciate that you stopped in to view, especially if you did today. If you're one of my friends, my dear friends who tunes in every day to watch these vlogs, to share this journey with me, I love you for that. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being that rock. I want you to have a fantastic day. Do something good for yourself today. Maybe go see a movie, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.